Welcome to another awesome day of FileMaker training. I am, if I can turn my camera, Richard Carlton, creator of FMTrain.tv. Everyone here is welcome. Glad you are here. Interesting conversation today. Every day we have different awesome topics that we discuss. We're surrounding the world of FileMaker in some capacity, from learning it to from beginning, intermediate, advanced to trying to stay out of trouble with it. Real quick, I'm going to pop a new window over here and show everyone what is going on. So if you go to the website, FMTraining.tv, you can see our website right here. Come over to the live button, press the button right here. You can see the upcoming broadcast schedule. The broadcast schedule today is kind of doing an after action report of how Larry did with the certification test, because he took our training and took a crack at it and got much, much closer. He was very, very close to passing, but missed it by a smidge. We're going to talk about what he learned from that experience and what his plans are, how that might affect you and what you might want to think about. And I have a couple different comments on it as well, things that I heard and saw, so it was interesting. So tomorrow is going to be Monkey Bread. Christian Schmidt will be here talking about image processing, things like that. It'll be interesting. I will be around, I think. Whatever my schedule was has been adjusted or my trajectory's been altered again, so I'll be around. Then Wednesday, Calvin will be around doing some very beginning stuff, right? Hopefully it should be probably, should say for beginners on there, but I don't see that word anywhere. I think I asked Margaret about that, theoretically, so that should be for beginners. And then Thursday and Friday is Kyle's desperate attempt to put 20 pounds of shit to a 10-pound bag. Once again, Kyle will be attempting to literally put 5 hours worth of things he could show you into about 50 minutes or so. And which case then Kyle will get to the end. He'll be like, but I'm not done yet. I want to keep talking, right? And we have to actually literally, that hook from the old days where you put someone on stage, you took the hook and you ripped them off the stage. We have the Kyle hook. We'll be standing by to use that if he doesn't shut up when we're at the end of the broadcast, right? Awesome. And then Monday, we're going to Coach's Corner. We're going to be back to beginner stuff. So once again, this one should be labeled as beginner. These are definitely advanced. This one's beginner. This one is kind of wherever. I'm not sure where Christian Schmidt's stuff is at. So welcome to FMTrain.tv. As a reminder, we're going to be talking about a lot of cool things. The certification training is something that is in the can now. We've done the training, and we're going to be diving into this in a little bit. But if this is not something that's free, if you want the FileMaker certification training, you need to have our complete bundle for that. So what is the complete bundle? Well, complete bundle is a bundle of everything we have. It's complete. We run into people all the time who are like, well, I only want to buy this little piece and this little piece and this little piece and this little piece. And we don't have the capacity to do individual little slices. We don't have enough hours in the day to do that. So you get about, I don't know, 20, 30 different items that are part of the complete bundle. The complete certification training up here is only part of the complete one down here. So I highly recommend that if you want to support the channel, support what we're doing, let us know about that, buy the complete bundle. Another thing, update real quick on this is FM starting point. So here is the latest on what's going on. So Nick Hunter has been working on his version of FM starting point. Nick's version is decidedly very, 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 very advanced. In fact, it's too advanced for the basic starting point. And what it is that starting point has to be understandable by beginning and intermediate people. And the version that Nick has built is very, 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 requires an advanced user to understand it. In fact, I personally don't even like using it. It's almost too advanced. So it's a lot like the Launchpad file, for those of you familiar with the Launchpad file that he has. So the team has we forked the code as a term in the tech business. We forked the code, and they are going through a process of simplifying with basically the same interface, couple changes to it, but we're going to cut back on a couple areas and make them a little bit more easy to understand for beginning people, beginner intermediate people, which is really the target audience for starting point. But Nick is an artist who likes to have fun, and as a result of that, he's built what he would personally like to play with, but that's not really what the mass majority of the FileMaker community really needs. So they're kind of diverging interests there a little bit. So let's move on today. So today let's talk about FileMaker certification. So we had the certification training that we did. It's about 10 hours of content. It's really quite good. And welcome in, Jay. Welcome, Canberra, David, Dennis, Drew, Fox, Jacket, Eddie, Ken. Kyle's here. He's on the call a little bit. Larry's here. Larry and Kyle both, we've dialed them in to talk to them a little bit about the certification. And then, of course, we got Christian Schmidt, who'll be here tomorrow mostly. And I got NJ from Australia, Peter Greens, and Scott Kane. So the deal is that the certification training was great. And we basically gave as much content we can to you without getting in trouble from Claris. If I'd given you more content than what's in there, I'd have to actually give you the answers to the questions in the test. Now, so I want to talk to Larry first off. So Larry started off with a kind of a score. Then he came to me and said, Rich, I really need certification training. And he whined so much, and I had enough people whining to me about it. I said, fine, I'll do it. It turned out to be a ton of work on my side. And Larry, I think, realized it was a ton of work in general. And so you took the test, Larry. Or can we unmute Larry, Margaret, if you're there? We're going to go and unmute him.
Yes, I can.
Larry, are you there? Operators are standing by. Are you there, Larry?
I have to click the unmute button. There it is. Server mute. Hello, Larry.
There he is.
Hello.
All right.
Hello.
Yep, you're there. So tell us, what was your thoughts and feedback about taking the certification test? What did you see? What surprised you? What shocked you? What revelations did you have, if any?
Yeah. Okay. First thing that the folks who took the training with us, with the rest of us here, need to know is that the test now has 5 minutes to get yourself knowing how to do the test on the computer. They took 20 minutes away from you. You only get 90 minutes.
Okay, so let me check this, because this was on their website, Exam Policies FAQ. They said 110 minutes on here.
Yeah, I know. It says that everywhere, but then you go in there and they say,
The entire seating time is 120. You're allotted for 10 for non-disclosure agreement and tutorial, and then 110 itself. So it's actually, so they cut out 20 minutes. So this website is wrong. So that's the first thing.
Right, and the other one's, the 10 minutes is now 5 minutes.
Okay. So that's
fine.
That's plenty. Basically, what they do is they give you a non-disclosure where they say, hey, you're not going to give everyone else the questions and answers. And then they're going to show you how the interface works. And the interface basically is very simple. It's basically, it looks kind of like a DOS program. It's not super beautiful or anything. It's a blue screen, white text. Does FileMaker platform work? And it's 5 choices. Yes, a little bit, not a lot. You may select one of those multiple choices or more than one of them, right? From all the time, you'll see at least 4 possible multiple choice answers and up to 6. And so we had some tips about that. What tips did you have? So you can mark a record to come back to, right? Is that what you did?
Right. Yeah. You can mark records to come back to, and I highly recommend doing that. You can go back to any of the questions, but you're not going to know which ones to go to if you haven't marked them. So it gives you the list of all of them, but it shows you which ones you've marked.
Okay.
So if you have a lot of time, you can start going over them all again, but there seems to be a rule I always had that if you're taking a multiple choice test, don't go back and change an answer that you've made, because you'll probably change it from right to wrong 9 times out of 100.
Okay.
And so I saw some dragons. They were pretty obvious for the most part.
Back up. So some people haven't taken our training. So what is a dragon, Larry?
A dragon is well, I'd call it an obvious wrong answer that they stick into the multiple choices, like the one we had in the training about they tell you that FileMaker Pro can host WebDirect and 100 clients and all that kind of thing. So they'll have something like that in there that's just patently, not true. So you can throw those out, and those help easily. Now, that said, I haven't ever told you this, Richard, but in my Marine days at the Commonwealth School, where I was a master instructor, we had electronic testing there, and we had a test bank of thousands and thousands of questions for different parts of the courses, and they were all you actually punched your answers on a hollerith card that had little punch outs.
Okay.
And then it was graded. And what happened was, if a question was obviously a bad question because everyone was missing it, it got thrown out. But they would take a mix of, based on that data, they would take a mix of harder and easier questions to make the test, reasonable. But if a question was just they'd throw it out. It'd get taken out of the test bank. And clearly, Claris doesn't do that, because there's got to be some questions in there that I think everybody misses. I don't know, my opinion. And they also don't know how to write questions, and they don't know how to write distractors, or you wouldn't have such dragony distractors if they knew how to write test questions.
Well, yeah, here's the thing with this, right? So, my take on it is slightly different. I don't disagree with what he's saying. Basically, what Claris wants to do is they're trying to test to make sure they have people who are taking the test who actually have some level of experience with FileMaker. And what they will do is they will put, during the training, we spent a lot of time talking about dragons. And a dragon is, Larry said they're obvious bad answers, but the reality is that I'm hoping that they're obvious to you. And that's why we went through all the training with the certification, to kind of have you focus and commit some memory to flashcard. During the training, you'd see me out there with a piece of paper going like this, telling you to turn this into a flashcard to memorize it, because it's going to come for you. And so by doing that, you're able to identify both correct answers, but also be looking for the obvious fake answers. And so the goal is for them to be obvious to you. Now, Larry's going, they're obviously an obvious wrong answer. Well, he knows that either because of FileMaker experience or because he learned from our training. But my goal is to make them obvious, right? A lot of times they're not obvious, right? Like if I say, give me an auto enter option an auto enter option that allows you to auto validation option and field definitions that can have a maximum of so many characters or a minimum of so many characters. And if I put that in there, a lot of you would say, yeah, that sounds like a good validation option, but only one of those is real, right? Only maximum or minimum is real. Claris doesn't trap for both those. Which one is it? Well, find out for yourself or go by the training. But the point is that it's is that there's a lot of spots where we want you to memorize things to help you out. And so, Larry, I don't know if you want to talk about your score too much, but you're pretty close now on your pass, right?
Yeah. No, I'm happy to talk about it. Based on the training and studying, probably not enough. I don't know. I thought I put in a lot of time, but apparently not enough. But anyway, I went from a 42 to a 55. So I went from being off by 20 points to being off by only 7 points. And now I feel like a month from now, after I relax a little bit and get done being pissed off at Claris, and go take the test again. I'm going to take it on March 3rd, and I'm pretty confident that I'm going to pass this time, because I have a lot better feeling about what to expect. I recommend that you take the test whether you think you're really ready or not. You should be somewhat ready. As Richard said, you should have at least a few years of experience with FileMaker. I'll confess, I've been working with FileMaker for 12 years. And I just now start thinking about certification. But, when you do that, you work with certain aspects of FileMaker. You don't work with with everything. And nobody does.
No.
You get into a set of things that you use, and you use that set. And you don't know about any of the other stuff.
Yeah.
So you need to learn that stuff, and when you learn that stuff, you also learn how to improve what work you're doing, and so it gets better.
Yeah.
And so it's a good investment, not just to pass the test, but to improve your skills as a FileMaker developer, and to teach you shortcuts, teach you how to do things better, teach you how to do things more effectively and efficiently. It's well worth taking the time, and I can't thank Richard and RCC Consulting and everybody involved, Calvin, and everybody that was involved with putting together this training, because it's really super. There are some other companies out there that have training courses that are so out of date, they're ridiculous, and they charge you a considerable amount of money for them. Richard did this for us who have his training for free.
Yeah.
That's big investment of his time that needs to be spent making money. He's not in business to give away the farm. And so I am extremely grateful to RCC, not only for this, but all the other things you do for us as a community. with the regular daily training, the live stream training, the bundles. If you don't buy the bundle, frankly, you're stupid, because to buy a copy of FileMaker costs about the same as the training costs with a copy of FileMaker. So come on.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot in there, and I greatly appreciate the kind comments. The goal is to make the training as good as I could make it without giving everyone the questions and answers. Because on the test, you're going to dive into, at the beginning it says you're not going to share this content with other people. I can guide the conversation in terms of training, and a lot of what we do is say, hey, this is areas that you need to really commit to memory because it keeps coming back on the test. For example, they have this FAQ on here. It was a really good question someone asked me today. It was on the, let me go backwards a set. There was this, basically they have this document, the study guide. And what we did is we took the study guide and we beefed it out quite a bit by adding more high traffic areas to the conversation. So for example, here's this first section called database schema, right? And it's 10 to 15% of the test. And they gave you some sample questions here. And then they actually give you the answers below. And what we did is we did more of these. What we consider high traffic areas. If you have carpet in your home or your apartment, if you walk on it endlessly for years, the parts on the edge will be nice and like new carpet because nobody ever steps on them. And the parts in the middle, the high traffic areas, all worn down and dirty and smashed and worn out. And so the goal is to find the worn down, smashed areas in the FileMaker product that everyone walks on all the time, because that's what they're going to test you on, right? And some of it you could figure out for yourself, like, I don't know, get script, the most common script triggers and the most common, functions that you would use, right? And so those are things you're going to need to look at. What's interesting about this, there's a large group of questions that they have. For those of you wondering about this, they have a huge pool of like 180 questions, and they're going to pull about 60 of those randomly. So you'll get a distribution. So 10 to 15% of the questions you're going to answer of that 60 will be on database defining schema. But the other day someone says, well, what's the percentage of server questions? So section 2 is building layouts. So like, hiding objects in a layout, and, styles and themes and things like that, But then they're asking a question in here about, their sample in here was, you got this relationship thing in here. What does that have to do with building a layout? So a lot of this stuff kind of cross-pollinates. Someone said, well, if I get down here a little bit, working with scripts, that's a big section. That's a big section there. But they get this section about deployment. It's called deploying FileMaker, and the deployment is basically saying, this deploying means FileMaker Cloud, FileMaker Server. So someone says the other day, how many questions of the 60 are we going to have that will have server in them? And if you look at this right here, you'd say, well, 10 to 15%, but server will affect questions upon perform script on server, things like that. It affects a ton of things, how global fields work, how they might have a value or might not have a value. So server questions probably pop up, if you actually looked at it, maybe a third of the time, quite a few, maybe more than that. It's prevalent because they expect you to use that, right? So
there were very few that I would say were actually deployment questions. You're right.
Very few.
There's lots of questions that have to do with server, like PSOS and stuff like that. But to say, how do you deploy a FileMaker server? That ain't in there.
No, that wasn't in there. Yeah, can you run on Mac? And so the other question people like to ask, because historically it's been this way, and if Kyle, if you have anything along the line you want to share, versions numbers, like, oh, well, this is a FileMaker 19 test, and then a FileMaker 18 test, and maybe a FileMaker 20 test. And so I'm not going to get into the marketing sales strategy of Claire seems to be stuck on 19 in perpetuity forever, which I see no sign of that ending. We talked about that before, but I guess that someday when they wire up their new super duper amazing thing, they'll call it 20. But we're on 19.4, and then there'll be 19.5 and probably 19.6 beyond that. And so the reality of it is that they keep doing these little incremental bumps, which is fine, but their tests used to be wired on a major version release, right? So there are no questions in there like, well, this what versions of Windows can run FileMaker 19, right? Or what versions of a browser can use WebDirect. It's supposed to be version agnostic and not sensitive to that kind of stuff. And so those questions aren't there anymore, right? And I used to consider those like easy freebie questions that you could get, right? You had to memorize certain versions of Safari, certain version of Explorer, which is now Edge, certain versions of Chrome, and that's for using WebDirect. But what about other things, right? So, what versions of Windows Server support it? What versions of Linux support it? You should generally know, kind of loosely as a developer, what those are, but you don't have to have them memorized anymore. They're not on the test. Kyle, comments, thoughts, questions?
So I actually took the test yesterday.
Really? Really? Online? Online?
I took the test online. Yeah, I was at home. I took it online. So I got kind of a funny story. I was 44 questions into it, and the 44th question had a bug in it where all the answers were the exact same answer. And
No.
I commented it. There's a little chat button in there, so you can chat with the person that's watching you. And so I went into the chat. I'm like, hey, all the answers to this question are exactly the same. I have no idea which question to answer. So she actually pulled me out of the test, and so now I got to see if I can get my money back for the test, or if they're gonna reschedule me for another date. I couldn't believe what I was seeing.
Stop. You're making this up. Are you making this up?
No.
Is this a true story?
This is real.
Did you flunk the test?
It's
You didn't
true
want to
story.
tell. You didn't want to
Happened
tell
last
me. You didn't want to tell me, right? All right.
Nope. It was question number 44. I'm not sure if I can tell you what the question and
No, you can't legally do that.
There was only one answer.
Okay.
And it was repeated 4 times. So I'm like, I have no idea which one to answer. It's like a 25% chance I'd get it right.
Well, that's
because they're all
okay.
the same
So
answer.
they updated their software. So what I wanted to do here real quick is show everyone kind of what this looks like. So Kyle, go through it. I need you, Kyle, to talk, and I'm going to quickly go on screen and try to log on to the Pearson View thing and see if I can download their little testing thing, right? Test it to make sure I can take the test, right, or whatever like that.
Okay. Yeah.
So talk. Go. What other things did you think about or learn?
What other things?
This is go. So.
There's one question I got kind of stuck on because it showed a graph of relationships, all the table occurrences, and it was asking me what kind of portals you can have without any filtering or sorting.
Careful about actual answers. You're not supposed to be.
I'm not going to say what the specific answers or anything. So it was the problem I had with the question, and again, this goes back to Larry saying they don't ask questions, is they didn't tell me what table occurrence the layout was based on anywhere in the question. So I'm like, I have no idea how to answer this because they didn't give me a table occurrence to start from. So I don't know what that table occurrence can see. But they gave me the 4 options. They said to pick 2 of them. So I'm like, I was kind of stuck because I'm like, what table occurrence am I starting from? So I had to kind of guess based on what I was seeing, what table occurrence I might be starting from. So that was kind of annoying. So I'm trying to think of some other weird things I saw. So
While you're thinking,
the test was, they did make it really difficult.
Yeah. I had no JSON questions whatsoever on this test. The first one I did have a JSON question. I had one execute SQL state question, and I had one on the first time I took it as well. So, Richard, you're very right about what you said about, if you're going to ignore something, ignore that stuff because there's not going to be enough there to hurt you.
Yep. All right. So everyone, watch what I'm doing here
I
real
only
quick.
had one JSON question I can remember.
Watch what I'm doing here real quick. So I'm doing a microphone test. I'm doing a speaker test. Okay, that's fine. So so webcam. It's notice I'm doing right here. It's doing it. My camera. If I lose, you folks still hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So this
we
is
still
when
hear you.
you're doing the home test. They're doing a diagnostic to make sure this works okay. and then make sure that, because what you're going to do is they're going to watch you on here. So if you're going like this, and then you go like, psst, hey, what's the answer to number 4? They're going to see you. You can't talk to yourself. You can't talk to your dog. You can't. Did both of you took it at home, right? Home?
No, I took it at a testing center.
You took it to the testing center? Yeah.
Mhm.
It's did they still give you a dry erase and a little card thing?
Yes, they did.
Yeah, you need, that's the benefit of doing that.
So when
was
you
a
take it
really
at home, they do
pretty,
give you a little
market.
whiteboard that you can write on. There's a little button that you can actually do a whiteboard, and you can use that.
Okay.
But it's inside the computer. You can't actually use anything physical. outside
So
the
you have
computer.
to draw like with the mouse or something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so I did this. What I'm trying to do is find out where I have the simulation of what the test actually looks like when you when you actually do dashboard my profile. So yeah, I'm trying to figure this out. So when I can go ahead, I'm listening.
Their site is really confusing.
Yeah, it's kind of tough. I'm trying to figure.
Another thing, just a side comment, a lot of their questions are very wordy. So you got to read a lot.
To answer Ken, yes, it was only 90 minutes.
Yeah, and some of them aren't wordy
I
at
recall
all.
having the 10-minute orientation, but there was only 90 minutes for the test.
You only had 90 minutes too, so that is off on their deal there for sure. So, I'm going to do Claris International. There's Claris International for the test. I'm trying to. They have a little simulator that allows you to simulate what the test looks like if you do it at home. Right, I'm trying to remember where that's even at on here, but you can go through and play with it, and it pops up the little information system, and take a test, and so I'm gonna sign in, and I'm already in here. Okay, sign in. That's great, and then I just need to. Yep. So I guess I could take. Why don't we take a test? Why don't we take a brand new test? Exam catalog, schedule an exam, right? Do you have an access code? So I'm in the Claris dashboard right here, but really what I need to be is in a different dashboard. So that's a Claris test. But yeah, somewhere in here is an opportunity for you to testing accommodations, find a testing center local to you, right? So wherever you're at, you can put that in there. But we're on this entire branded page over here. That's kind of run by Claris. So yeah, I logged out there. Yeah, I'm not sure where that's at. It's being kind of cranky. So if I schedule the test, I want to test out of my home or office. What to expect? A short video. They talk about a short video of what to expect, right? What's next? Yeah, English or Japanese, the 2 languages, right? And test is $200 or $150 US. And then yeah, it won't allow me to take it again because it won't let me allow to get past this page. I've already taken it, right? So Claire said, yeah, you can't really take it because you're you've already taken it before. And I'm like, well, I should be able to take it every 2 years. And I'm like, yeah, not really. So anyway, lots of fun. So other questions that we have from anyone? Questions along the way. Margaret, are you there?
I am here.
Yes. Do we have questions from anyone? Discord? Twitch is super quiet.
On YouTube did you get the one from Psycho on YouTube? I purchased that bundle about 5 days ago. Will the training videos be on there soon? It's basically one of the certification training videos.
The certification training videos should be part of the confirmation email. We can, if you send an email to support real quick, we will send you the link again. What happens is you will get a link which has a special code in the link, and you go to FM Cert. I think it's what FM Cert Training. Is that what it is? .com. Is that the website for it?
Pretty sure that's right.
Oh, there it is. So you'll get a link, and it'll have this extra code
Yeah,
in it.
that's the right site.
Yeah, and it'll drop you in the site. And so the videos for the certification training are in a browser. We're experimenting with delivering content this way as opposed to inside FileMaker, our video player application. But yes, we will make sure you shoot us an email to support. So if you're a complete bundle subscriber and you don't have access to this, let us know. We will shoot you a link. All the content has been finally posted. So day 9 has been posted. All the content is posted. So it's as up to date as we can make it for the time being. I think probably we might do some additional training early next year if they update the test again, which I suspect they will. I was told that they were just now starting the process of trying to update it, because the test is really, for those of you who missed a conversation about this, is a 19.1 test. So the answers are specific to FileMaker 19.1, which means there's a couple questions in there which, if you answer them for 19.4, they're correct for 19.4, but they're wrong for 19.1. It's not a good thing, but it is kind of, Claire's just trying to stay caught up and up to date with this thing, and I think it's just a lot of work. Writing tests and writing good test questions is really hard to do. We thought about creating a junior level test, like a junior FileMaker kind of certification test for junior level people, and we sat there writing questions, and every time I wrote a question, I ended up testing the wrong thing. And so you have to think about, like, if I ask a question, the goal is they're trying to test you on a specific item or idea without actually spelling it out for you. And the problem is with FileMaker, there's always 20 different ways of solving a problem, so you can end up going down the wrong road. And so it's actually writing good test questions I used to be more critical of Claris on this, like, hey, those guys stink, and they're getting help from a couple consultancies to help them out, or whoever they're getting help from, not me. And I was like, you guys get your shit together, right? But then you actually sit and try to write some questions yourself. I spent many a day trying to do that. We have giving up on the project at RCC because we thought if you bought the basic bundle, then you could get a basic test, or a complete bundle, get a basic test, and we would rubber stamp you, right? The rub is that writing the test would turn into a really difficult proposition. It's really surprisingly hard to do. It's easy to write a question. It's hard to write a good question. It just is. Unless it's fill in the blank, which then you have to grade it. And who wants to do that? So multiple choice is very difficult to do. So
we do have one question from Ken a bit earlier.
Yep, go ahead.
Were there areas, to Larry specifically, and I guess also to Kyle since he was doing the test, were there areas that seemed to be overemphasized that may have tripped you up?
No, I don't think. I mean, it was broad enough that, no, I wouldn't say it was. I don't know. What was your experience, Kyle, with the 43 questions that you got?
43 and a half.
Yeah. You should get an automatic pass.
Question. Yeah, it should be. So I can't think of any that were overemphasized. They do try to trip you up. It is really, a lot of them are really, really confusing, and I know that's on purpose to try to weed out certain people. But yeah, you really got to take your time with the tough questions. Save the tough questions for last. Go through the whole test, flag any tough questions, come back to them later, answer the easy ones, and then you can return at the end to all the ones that you flagged, and then you can just answer them one at a time. And you take your time with them and try to get them right. So, and like Larry was saying, don't go back and fix the ones you already did. If you've already answered them, don't try to re-answer them or fix your answer, because most of the time you will just end up getting the wrong answer by mistake, because you probably already had the right answer the first time around. Unless it's something obvious, I guess. But
it was obvious you got it the first time, so.
Yeah, exactly.
So this is part of the conversation that they're talking about. If you look at all the tests here, I've signed into Cisco as Cisco Systems. They do routers and all sorts of hardware, and you can check out the process for this. Perform a system test, testing advice, ID requirements, additional information, testing policies. Let me see. So they talk about you have to stay within visual of your webcam. You cannot get up and walk around. You cannot go to the bathroom. No one can enter the testing environment. You cannot leave. A beverage in a container is allowed, but no food or smoking. I remember me chewing on some of my, it's my military grade caffeinated, what I call combat gum, but it's so I'm in there like chewing on some caffeinated gum to keep me fully lucid during the exam. You cannot move your webcam around once you started taking a test, like, this, right? Mumbling or speaking out loud will lead to a warning. Yeah. So most people talk to ourselves. Mostly I'm going, what the f-? And they're like, you can't talk. And I'm like, okay. So, so headphones are not allowed unless explicitly approved by your, and then you must be fully. Whoa! Okay, well, for those of you, Ken in Arizona, are likely to start stripping off your clothes and flinging them off. Yeah. Best internet connection. What?
We have an interesting question from Lydia Schwendinger. Hopefully I pronounced your name correctly. Do you, I assume referring to RCC, have your own certification after you've successfully completed your course? If so, when can it be done, or when will it take place? By Samet.
The answer is we tried that, and no, we don't have it, because that's what I was commenting on just a moment ago. We sat down for several afternoons. After 2 afternoons of writing questions, I had like 5 or 6 or 8 good questions for a test, and I realized that getting to any sort of 50 or 60 questions was going to be an impossibility, so we kind of gave up on it. I mean, it's one of those things we would do if we thought there was more money, and people would love to have a certification from us. The reality, though, is writing good, quality, good test questions that are multiple choice is exceedingly difficult to do. And you have to be not just a good senior engineer, but you have to be a freaking ninja and know all the possible permutations of answers so you don't lead someone down the wrong path, right? Because it's mostly like, the problem is writing bad. It's actually not even writing the question and the answer. The hard part is writing reasonably sounding bad answers. So, for example, let's just take an example right now. I'm just going to come up with one. How might you alter the appearance? Okay, listen to what I'm saying. How might you, and I'm not asking for Kyle Larry here, you just listen. How might you alter the order of appearance of records within a portal? Okay, there's your question. Okay, let's just say there are 5 possible answers, A, B, C, D, and E. So I'm just going to give you the correct answer up front. I would say right-click into the, or double-click the portal in layout mode and check the button for sort portal option. Now, so that's the correct answer, right? So now let's talk about bad answers you could write. Well, I could say use a script step set portal sort order, right? That would be a good one. That'd be an easy one. But trying to come up with 4 or 5 bad ones that sound legit without being stupid is hard, right? When in browse mode, right click on the field you'd like to sort by and click sort. Except you can do that. See, I just thought of that, but then I realized you can't actually right click on it, hit a sort. But if you do it inside a portal, I don't think that has anything to do with the portal. So that would be a great answer, except it leads the user down the wrong path. So that's like a good answer, but not a good answer, right? So then, can't use that one. So I have to come up with something else. So always throwing I could do what Claris likes to do. We do. Please apply an extended privilege to the privilege set for the person FM sort. Extended privilege set. That would be a classic something Claris would do, because whenever in doubt, just make up an extended privilege set name for it. So there's 2. But you see how hard this is. And I'm sitting here trying to come up with answers, and I got to do this like 60, 80, 100 times on all sorts of stuff. So yeah, it's very demanding. Very, very, very demanding. Test your system. Make sure you have the right equipment. Use the best internet connection. Prepare your testing environment. What is your testing environment? So here's your testing environment. You're going to be quiet, no interruptions. Larry's dog is not invited. If you have small children still at your house, which some of my engineers do, that could be difficult. If you have a rescue cat like I do and it demands treats in the middle of the exam, that could be a problem, because you saying, no, kitty, they're going to see your lips moving and they're going to want to know who you're talking to. So you're going to check in your test. You're going to be there 15 to 30 minutes early if you're late. Because what they have to do is they just can't give the test to you generically. They have so many employees that sit and watch. And what the employee does is it's like a security monitor, right? And the employee is sitting there staring at a screen with like 20 or 30 different people, little box on the test, and they're watching their heads, making sure they're not cheating. And if Fred over here's lips are moving, they click on it and they listen in on what you're saying, and they might tell you to shut up, right? So they have to actually schedule people to watch you through your webcam, right? It's not an AI. Maybe someday it'll be an AI, in which case then we would try to game it, which would be kind of a fun thing to do.
Hey, Richard, while you were scrolling around there, I very quickly saw something go by that said something about military, so I went quick and did a little research. I think I might be able to get the military to pay for my tests.
All right, solid background. You need a headshot. You need a photo ID of yourself. You're going to have to take 4 photos. So in the event also that we have this scenario right here, I'd have to take out my phone, wherever my phone's over there charging. And you're going to take a picture like this way and this way and this way and this way, all the way around so they can have a complete idea of the environment of your environment. Like you take a picture over here, you're like over there, there's like a cabinet. Okay, there's any answers over there? There's a wall, more acoustic file. There's a hallway with a door. Someone might be, sign language giving me the answers, right? We can't have that. So they're going to go seriously, they're really crazy about this. Be careful, you're being recorded. Do not use your mobile device. You must stay within sight of the camera at all time, right? So that kind of stuff. Technical issues, getting inside support. So this is kind of what to expect. So in our complete bundle, for those of you who are asking about this, if I go to fmtraining.tv and I say go down to bundles and I look at the complete bundle, we have to add that in here. Maybe it's been added in here yet. But the test, the training, we have about 100 hours of training in here, plus the certification training. We've added that. So that's where all this is at. I know people would want to take an exam have us create an exam on top of that, but instead we created the training for the certification. That was the goal. And that turned out to be 10 hours. And it's pretty intensive. So I don't want to belabor this. I had a semester of class writing test questions, and it was painful. Yeah, Canberra. Yeah, writing bad questions is easy. Writing good questions, it's like one of those things. You never complain about someone. It's like, unless you're willing to do it yourself, shut up, right? Sometimes I tell people, don't complain unless you're willing to do it yourself, right? Like
when I was at the Marine Corps COMELEC schools, all instructors were required to write 2 test questions every week. And they knew who wrote what questions when they put them in the test bank. And if your test questions were constantly getting flagged as being question, you had a problem.
Yeah, and that's the problem. It says I was writing them.
Review would reflect that.
Yeah, I would when I would write a question, I'm thinking about all the permutations of me getting the accidental bad answer out of someone, right? So that's the trick, trying to get the right answer. So I don't have anything more at the moment. We can cut out early. Tomorrow is going to be a pretty deep day with Monkey Bread, but we wanted to cover Kyle's experience. I did not know that Kyle was taking the test last night. It would have been awesome for him to come here and take it, and take the test and pass it. But I'm waiting for my first person who's watched our certification training to come back and pass it. So a lot of people take it, and a lot of people who have a lot of FileMaker experience. It's very common to have scores in the 40 to 50% range. You must have at least. We know that you can get a pass with 62%. I don't know if a 60% will pass, but a 62% is a pass because I've seen
at the end of my test, it specifically said passing is 62. Your score was 54.
Oh, it actually said 62 is the exact.
Yep.
I missed that. Okay, so
it said that on the printout, but at the end of the test, that's what it told me.
On the computer screen, it said that. Is that what you're saying?
62% is pass. Yep.
So that's interesting. So that is the minimum. I had an engineer who I thought would fail, but he did well enough, and he didn't really study for it, and he comes sliding in sideways. It's like, safe. It's like trying to run the class, and you're not going to be late before the bell. You get detention after school, and he comes running in, sliding their ass sideways in the seat, and the bell goes off. Safe, right? And so he did that with 62%. So we've actually had people in years gone by, because they do a lot of math and means and deviations of what the average people will get. And at one point, 58% was a pass. But once again, they do a beta test after they come up with new questions to kind of create a standard mean of where they expect people to be. And so that's kind of where that's at. So 62 is a pass. Good. All right. Well, David Angel, Peter Gaines, any other final questions? NJ is there. Tomorrow will be a little bit more programming oriented. Tomorrow's about doing advanced stuff with FileMaker with the camera, right? Is that what tomorrow is? If we go to that FM training, let me see if I can press the button. See the upcoming live schedule right here. Chris Schmidt shows you how to add images to your database a variety of ways. Actually, specifically controlling the camera, not on the iPhone, but on a Mac or Windows computer, or maybe you got Mac and Windows for the most part. But how to get those images in there, because you do it on an iOS device from the script step called what? It's on the test. Insert from device there's a top test question somewhere there about that, right? Guaranteed. It's a script step that we wish worked on all the clients, but it doesn't work on Mac and Windows. And so anytime that Clara says no, Christian Schmidt from Monkey Bread Software says yes, you can have that, and I will put it in my plugin. It makes another reason for you to buy his amazingly awesome product. David says, time ago, I took the Cisco and got 89. Passing score was 92. Probably missed one question. Yeah. So it's 60 questions. You do the math, but each question's worth 1.2 points or 1.2% or something like that. So yeah. Or no, 1.8% or something. Whatever that. I do the math on that. But it's almost 2% per question, right? So that kind of thing. All right, cool. Whoop. Margaret, anything else? Larry, Kyle, anything?
I don't see anything. I think we might be good.
Okay, cool. Well, we're looking forward to hearing the resolution of Kyle's dilemma with that thing.
Yeah,
and
I got to bug him.
Yeah.
Keep bugging him till they respond.
And then Larry's going to take the test again, and we're looking forward to that because he'll get the pass and come back, and then we will have an official patch issuing ceremony, and we will knight. We have to break out the sword, not to hit him in the ear with a sharp sword, but we're going to knight him as FileMaker certified. It should be quite the production. I'm looking forward to that. Okay. All right, everyone. All right. Have a good one. Appreciate it. Thanks. Got a report of an individual up here who may be a FileMaker license. Well, it's potentially expired. Look at the back of that car right there. Looks like the FileMaker license has expired. Sir, I need you to step out of the vehicle. Sir, step out of the vehicle. Sir.